The St. Louis Cardinals have already made a couple of big moves, but they could still use a right-handed bat. And today we're going to tell you the ones that we think make the most sense to impact this team in 2026.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafron, a former national radio sports anchor, born and raised in St. Louis and a lifetime Cardinals fan, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you to our everydayers for helping us get there. For those of you who are new, welcome aboard. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving you all the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Now, if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. So on today's show, we're going to be discussing the latest moves by the Cardinals, couple of trades, Sonny Gray, Willson Contreras. There's been some signings, but we're going to start today with the free agent market, specifically the right-handed bats that are still out there and which ones, if any, actually make sense for the Cardinals moving forward. And to help us sift through these names, we've got our good friend Thomas Gauvain from RedbirdRants.com. Here he is. Thomas, welcome in, buddy. Happy holidays to you and yours. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you, JD. How are you?
I'm good. I'm enjoying the offseason so far because it's starting to pick up for the Cardinals, although not everybody's as happy about what's going on with them and who they're getting rid of and who's coming back in return. But we'll get to that a little bit later. The Cardinals have made those two big trades, as we talked about. Sonny Gray, Willson Contreras, both going to the Boston Red Sox in exchange for 5 new pitchers, 2 of which should help this team this year. Richard Fitts, Hunter Dobbins. They've also signed Dustin May. They've added Zach Kent from Cleveland and Matt Pushard from Miami. So that's 5 new arms that could impact this year's 26-man roster, have a very good chance of at least impacting the roster this year. Now, they aren't closing the book on pitching. They'll keep their eyes open about adding more arms. They're always watching, always looking for ways to improve. But for now, they've added a lot of solid depth to what was a very lean department in the organization over the last few seasons. Bloom said this is what his goal was. Like, we got to restock stuff. So he mentioned in his press conference on Monday night, though, that the team could also be in the market for a right-handed bat, either an outfielder, or he said there's a possibility of he sees like a path for an infielder to come in as well. Said he doesn't want to not give internal guys a chance to, take those roles on. So JC, Jose Fermin are the names that come off the top of my head. But depending on what opportunities are available, that maybe there's something that could happen from somebody outside of the organization. We know the team was left-handed heavy and still is. Newt, Victor Scott, Burleson, Donovan, Gorman, Jimmy Crooks. Other guys on the 40-man, you got Prieto, Church, Torres, J.J. Weatherholt isn't on the 40-man yet, but we're pretty sure he's going to be up on the team this year. That's a lot of southpaws. And by trading away Contreras, arguably your best right-handed bat, you've lost not only another one of those, but we assume Nato is going to be gone at some point as well. So there's 2 of them. Now you're left with Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn, Ivan Herrera, Sajasi, Pedro Paez, Jose Fermin, and Joshua Baez as far as the 40-man goes. Now, Baez hasn't played above AA yet, so we're not going to rush him. So we don't think that's going to be an issue. That means you're left with Jordan Walker as your only right-handed outfielder on the 40-man roster right now. And then you've got Wynn, Sajasi, and Fermin on the infield. Right-handed hitters, which used to be everywhere, Thomas, are now at a premium across the league. Not a lot of impact bats with power from the right side available. So what we're going to do today is we've given Thomas a little project. Give us 3 names, and we're going to use a Christmas theme to this. And we're going to call this our Cardinals Christmas wish list as far as right-handers go. So we'll have a big present, which is like his top scenario, maybe a little dream scenario, maybe a little bit out of reach scenario. You've also got the little present, which is, hey, that could be possible. And then we'll call it a stocking stuffer for the lower level one that maybe you don't think is really going to happen, but it's still a possibility out there as well. So hopefully that all makes sense. We're going to start with our big present. All right, Thomas, big present, someone that is realistic, but more wishful thinking than anything.
I'm going to start off the top with a former Cardinal and Harrison Bader here. He's got the center field defense, right-handed stick that we would love to see in the outfield. He actually has shown some pretty good offensive numbers since he left the Cardinals. He was no slouch at the plate when he was with us, but you look at his numbers last year, they were pretty strong overall. I think Bader would be an excellent addition. He could platoon with Victor Scott II out there. He could play corner outfield, and then his defense would be even better out there. People are seeing 2 years, $24 million for him. A, that doesn't fit our competitive window, and B, that's probably more money than what Heim is wanting to spend on what was probably going to be your 25th man on the roster, 26th man maybe. So he's my big present. I'd love to see him come back to the St. Louis, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, he's made his way around the league, sure, since he left St. Louis, Yankees, then to the Reds for like a split second. 14 games with the Reds in 2023. He's now been with the Mets, Minnesota, Philadelphia. But the thing about him is, like you said, he's a useful guy. He does a lot of things that people like. And again, finding right-handed hitters, it isn't easy anymore, which is really weird because that used to be the thing where it was finding a lefty that was the difficult part. Now they seem to be everywhere, and it's the righties that are getting to be more difficult to get on a roster. So yeah, I think if there's a move that would make people happy who are not so happy right now with things that are going on with the Cardinals, bringing back a fan favorite like a Harrison Bader obviously would be fantastic. He's going to be 32 next summer. Doesn't run quite the way he used to, but that's okay. The Cardinals aren't a big stolen base team outside of Victor Scott anyway. But yeah, he's still got some pop, and obviously he's got the flair and the defense that Cardinal fans would enjoy once again. My big present, I'm gonna go with a guy that was on a team in the division last year. I'm gonna go Miguel Andujar. And I'm just specifically thinking what he does against left-handers. And last year, the dude mashed 389 against lefties. He's 31 years old, or will be in March. His split OPS plus was 179 against lefties. So I am all in for that. I have no idea if he's good on defense or anything like that. And I don't care, to be honest with you. I'm just looking for somebody from the right side who can do some damage. If we're thinking like, if it's Newt that's going to be in left, if he's still around, that when he gets hurt, because he does all the time, that can slide in there and also give some of these guys a break. If Newt needs to play center, Victor Scott needs a day off. You got a guy like him who could just kind of slide in there and play against those left-handed pitchers. So thoughts on Miguel Andujar? Do you like that one?
He wasn't a name that was on my radar until you just said it. I do love those platoon splits against left-handed pitchers. That's something we need for 179 OPS plus. I don't love his defense. He grades out negative pretty much everywhere he's played. And I don't think he's played center field for a couple of years either. If I'm looking at his log here, it looks like, you got to go back pretty far. Yeah. Maybe never played center. Sorry, all corner outfield then. My bad. No, not even center field. From an offensive perspective, love it. Defense, I'm not sure.
Yeah. There's going to be some concessions here as far as the defense goes. And yeah, he's primarily kind of a left fielder. I don't think he has any business being in right field either. So it would be, I'm just looking at offense where we're trying to make up for whatever we've lost from Contreras and what you probably are going to lose from Nato. So that's where my thought process is. He could be as bad as Marcell Ozuna was in left field for all I know. And I'm just looking at the bat right now. So, all right, those are our big presents. We're going to move on to our little presents and the stocking stuffers. We're going to have those names coming up for you next on Locked On Cardinals. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. And that's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting, because you're not just watching the game anymore. You're actually reacting to it in real time. I get worked up watching football. I'm sure you do too. And with FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is the best when the game does start to shift, when you get a quarterback who gets hot, or a certain running back gets hot, or maybe the defense tightens up and you get one of those huge turnovers that flips the momentum in the game. That's when live betting becomes even more interesting and more fun. And FanDuel will let you jump right into the moment with live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly with what's going on, plus player props update as guys heat up or cool off. So it's really a more just a different way to approach your NFL Sunday. And if you haven't tried it yet, I highly suggest you do it. Obviously, we got games on Saturday this week as well. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com, place your NFL live bets all season long. Got games on Christmas to talk about too. So all of it available to you. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today. Get Locked On Cardinals with no interruptions. Members-only Discord access and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. If you want to go that route, go to LockedOnSTLCardinals.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. So, Thomas Gauvain from redbirdrans.com joining us here today. I got to get our Christmas look back up here. Here we go. There we go. A little more festive. We're looking for right-handed bats. This is our Christmas wish list for right-handed bats that can help this Cardinals team in 2026. We're not talking about down the road in a couple of years. No, we need some impact bats to help whatever this offense is going to be in 2026. Infielders, outfielders, they're all available. You could go DH. You could go Marcell Ozuna if you wanted to, although he wasn't all that good and he can only DH. But hey, these are your wishes. So second tier or a little present, who do you got for us, Thomas?
It's not a little present. Nickname's actually Big Christmas here. I'm going to go with John Kenzie Noel. He was DFA'd by the Guardians about a week or two ago. Yeah, he's so don't get too excited. He strikes out 33% of the time for his career over about 350 plate appearances. He is walking at less than 5% of the time. However, he is 99th percentile in bat speed, and his exit velocity is also pretty ridiculous too. He's great for home runs. He is not the best defender. He is a slow runner, but man, when he makes contact, that ball will fly, and he's right-handed.
Yes, and I believe when he got released, I remember looking up some of his stuff. He's got a pretty good arm in the outfield too, from what if I remember that cast. So
he does, yeah.
He's certainly one of those all or nothing type of guys. But if he figures it out, which he might, because he's still young, right? What'd you say, 24 years old? 24,
yeah, 5 years of control too. If we pick him up.
Yeah, we're talking about a guy that's a year older than Jordan Walker. Like that's somebody that fits what this team is all about right now. Can you figure out how to get him to not swing and miss as much? Is he just going to be the next Nolan Gorman from the right side of the plate? I don't know, but it's certainly something. He's got some tools there to work with, obviously. Yeah. I feel like he hit almost 30 home runs at Double-A a couple of years ago. So there is power. You've seen him with some big flies this year for Cleveland, and obviously great nickname. That's cool. Yeah. We're fans of that. How much fun is like Chip Carey going to have with a name like Big Christmas?
Oh, he'd have a blast. It all depends on his number, though, on the back of the jersey with Chip Carey, though. That's the thing you got to look out for.
That's true. What if he got signed and was 69? What would Chip Carey do in a situation like that? Lose his mind? Would his head just explode?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
So there's a name to think about. I'm going to go with another guy that was in the division. In fact, he was on the same team as Andujar was at the end of last season. He was with the Cincinnati Reds. He's got a goofy look. If you saw him out in public and he wasn't wearing his uniform, you'd never guess that this dude is a Major League Baseball player. But his name is Austin Hayes. Last year, .319 against lefties. He did have some injury concerns last year, but when he was in the lineup, the dude was pretty darn effective for the Reds. .319 against lefties, split OPS plus of 168. Once again, I have no idea if he's any good in the outfield at all. He may be absolutely terrible, but I know he can swing a bat, and he was a pretty good bat with Baltimore for a couple of years before he ended up with the Reds, and the injuries really kind of tapered the shine off of that signing for them last year. But I believe he still hit like 15 home runs last year. Granted, playing at Great American Small Park will help those numbers just a bit. But at the same time, I feel like he'd be a solid one too. And he'd be a guy that if you're thinking about, you sign him, he's a veteran, and he does pretty well, somebody that you could probably flip at the trade deadline and send him off to, I don't know, someplace in the AL East. Who could use, maybe Boston, something like that. A team that's always wheeling and dealing. You could do something like that. Who people are going to be interested in a guy like him at the deadline. So that would be a name that I would keep an eye on. I did see that the Mets were thinking about some Austin Hayes in their life. So that could happen as well. But name to put on the list as well. All right, moving on to stocking stuffers. Who's your next name, Thomas?
Okay, I might have taken this wrong here based on the directions, but I'm going to go with Jo Adell as my stocking stuffer, primarily because it's so far-fetched that the A's would trade him at this point that I don't think it's going to happen. So it's like that stocking stuffer. Yeah, it's like the item you put under Christmas list. You're like, there's no way somebody's going to get this for me. It's crazy. And then all of a sudden you see it there Christmas morning, and it's Jo Adell right underneath your tree.
Ooh.
He's got that. He's got the speed.
What do you think it would take? What do you think it would take to get him out of LA?
I don't. Nolan Arenado is not enough by himself. But if all these prospects we've built up, I'm sure Hein Bloom is cooking up a trade at some point down the road. Why not do it now and get Jo Adell? He's got the pop from the right side. He's got plus defense in the outfield. He's what Jordan Walker could become right now. Yeah. So why not get him?
Yes, I've used that comparison many, many times for the people who have already given up on Jordan Walker, because that's how they felt with the Angels, with Jo Adell. He'd been up a couple times, didn't look all that good, looked like he was never going to be the big hitter they thought he was going to be, but he was always so young. And then this year, there he is, already swinging and missing a lot, but oh boy, does he got that massive power, finally came through. And
he had a 931 OPS against lefties last year. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and he's super athletic too. So he's somebody that I think you could move around the outfield as well. So certainly an interesting name. I would love to get me some Jo Adell in my life. I have to ask John Frisch, who does Locked On Angels, if there's a trade that we can cook up with Arenado. Although he's I've asked him before. I'm like, what do you think? You could use him, right? And he's like, honestly, I have no idea what we do with Nolan Arenado. He's like, I don't know how much that really helps our team, but I don't know. The Angels like to get older veteran guys and see what they can do with them. So maybe that's something that works out. I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure the Cardinals would have to pay a lot to get it done, but that's a name obviously to keep in the back of your mind if he becomes available via trade. I went a different route. I went with somebody who was like an older version than all of these guys, but Starling Marte is the guy that I was thinking of as my stocking stuffer. 37 years old. And although if you've seen him, because he was with the Mets last year, that dude is a rock. Like, he's been in tremendous shape his entire life. He reminds me a lot of Reggie Sanders from back in the day, just how he takes care of his body and stays in great shape. Nothing all that special about him against lefties or righties. There's not really a whole lot of difference there, but just solid. Just a solid player with a split OPS plus of 109 against lefties. I'm just trying to think of a guy that certainly doesn't need to play every day. I don't think anybody who signs him is going to expect him to play every day. Unless he just gets signed on name alone, because he's had a really nice career in the major leagues. But he's somebody that I wouldn't mind seeing out there in the outfield, taking some reps in left field. I doubt he can play center field at age 37 anymore. So that takes that off the table. But I don't know. What do you got? What do you think about him as somebody that is just a piece of the puzzle at the back end of the roster here?
I like it. That veteran experience, that's something that'd be huge for the team. All-Star just 2022, not too long ago, our Cardinals' last best season. I know it's a century ago for someone who's 37, but still, he's got that pedigree to him. He's got the experience. I think he'd be a nice outfield bench guy.
Yeah, and I think that's where he is and is at this point in his career. He's played with the Mets in Oakland and Miami, Arizona. Most of us remember him in the division when he was with the Pirates early on in his career. So another guy that's traveled a little bit, and maybe he becomes somebody worth something in kind of the Tommy Pham mold, where he's somebody that another team would want at the trade deadline at some point to bring that veteran presence to their squad. So Starling Marte, put him in the stocking if we can get him. So those are our choices for right-handed bats. Before we wrap up this segment, is there anybody on the left-handed side of the reliever market that you are still interested in? I know they signed Jared Schuster, former first rounder from Atlanta. 2023, he was their number one prospect in their organization.
Nice.
I don't know if that says how bad the Braves organization, like their farm system was at the time, but obviously things haven't worked out since he left Atlanta. Has gone to the White Sox, was in the minor leagues with Oakland. So is there anybody out there left-handed wise that you still have your eye on? Because a lot of the guys that you and I have talked about and discussed, they're already off the board with Newcomb getting signed just today.
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, I wrote a story about left-handed relievers to replace JoJo. It was Caleb Teobard, Caleb Ferguson, Sean Newcomb, and then my backup was Drew Pomeranz. And since then, every single one of those guys has signed. So I've given up on left-handed relievers at this point. No, Justin Willson is my guy. Now, here, Boston Red Sox last year. So
Shocker.
he has no Heim Bloom connection, though. He joined them last year for just 1 year. He's got a legitimate four-seamer, 27.5% K rate last year. His walk rates are a little bit elevated, but that's not too big of a problem. He's good at limiting hard contact. He turns 39 next year, so once again, he could be one of those like sign on a 1 year deal, $4 million, give or take, and then flip him at the deadline for some prospects.
Okay, so definitely a name to write down there. I'm still on the Danny Colomb thing here, formerly of Texas and Minnesota last year. And one of the things that I've liked about him, and this is super corny, I mean, not only is he good in real life, but he's real good on MLB The Show. If you've ever tried to hit him, super tough. So he's somebody that
he's a St.
I
Louis
still got
guy.
my eye on. Yeah, he was born in St. Louis. I don't think he grew up in St. Louis, but he was born there. Him and you know how like you've noticed that Heim for whatever reason is bringing in redheads and light brown haired type of guys.
Yeah.
What about Andrew Chafin, brother? What about Andrew Chafin?
We're not called the Redbirds for nothing, right? Isn't that
right? Like, doesn't Andrew Chafin just scream Cardinals right now?
Yep.
With all of the things he's been on every team in the league, I think, but the Cardinals. Left-handed, super porn stash, great hair.
Yeah.
Doesn't mind getting traded wherever you want to send them after the fact. Like, I feel like that makes a lot of sense too if we're going to keep up with what Heim's been doing thus far. But we want your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Right-handed hitters, do you like the choices of the 6 that we named? Which ones do you think are realistic and you would want? Which ones do you think are trash? And as far as the lefties goes, are there any lefty relievers out there that you guys think the Cardinals should still be interested in? They're going to have to do something, because if JoJo does get traded, they're really going to be hurting. I've heard some people bring up maybe Cooper Jerpy, turn him into a reliever. I don't know. He's coming off injury, so I don't know how they're going to want to do that, where he's got to get up and down as reliever all that often. I don't know if that's a great idea. So
he's never pitched past AA either, so there's that too. I think he needs more time.
Yeah, that's the other side of it too. So let us know your guys' thoughts in the comment section, and we'll get some responses to that in another episode when Thomas joins us. Coming up next, though, haven't had a chance to talk to Thomas since Willson Contreras got traded. I want to get his thoughts on it, and maybe he's got some words of wisdom to calm some people down who are a little worked up about what's happening with this reboot, this rebuild, whatever the hell you want to call it, with the Cardinals. And some people are freaking out, Thomas, and they need you to console them. So we're going to do that coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Did Locked On Cardinals make your Spotify Wrapped? If so, then prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any of the social platforms. Doesn't have to be on X specifically, any of them. We'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join our Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. Once again, Thomas Gauvain from RedbirdRants.com is with us here today. The Willson Contreras trade took place on Sunday night. Late Sunday night, and it's kind of been the talk of the town for the last 48 hours. Your thoughts on the Contreras trade? Do you feel like the Cardinals got enough in return for him, considering how much money they had to send the other way, another $8 million going to Boston for one of our own players, to add to the Sonny Gray $20 million that they're already paying Sonny Gray, so that's $28 million going towards people not on our team and playing for Boston? Do you think it was a fair return with the 3 arms they got back?
I do. So the fact that we're paying something like 15% of Boston's payroll next year. That sounds like a great thing.
Not a great plan.
Yeah, right. I'm fine with the trade. I don't love seeing him leave. I was hoping that you look at the guys we had: Sonny Gray, Brendan Donovan, Willson Contreras. Those three guys alone, that's a good veteran leadership core that you'd like to have should you be a contending team. But just based on where we are in our window, I totally get why they're trading those two and why Donovan is being shopped at least. I think I've heard a lot about the Fajardo kid. Is that how Yoiker Fajardo? Just the name alone is exciting. Yeah, I've heard a lot about him. Only 19, but he's got great stuff. He should be a name to keep an eye on in these next 2 or 3 years. Hunter Dobbins should be able to give us solid innings. I think it adds depth to our rotation. We've got 7 guys now that you could truly call starters. I think that's great going into spring training with Quinn Matthews down in the minors as well. That's great depth as you go in. And then with Bloom wanting to continue to add starting pitching, the rotation's not very high end, but it's something reliable at least. And I'd rather be giving these innings to these young guys than guys like Miles Michaelis, or no offense, but like Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson a couple years ago. I'd want to see these young guys get the innings instead of them.
Yeah, that was something I was thinking about today too, and I've seen it brought up a couple times. Like, as tough as it is to watch guys you like go to other teams, but the problems that Heim is fixing by moving Willson and moving Sonny is, instead of the names like you mentioned, like a Miles Michael, last year, Miles Michaelis, Eric Fetty, and Andre Palante. All right, you want to see that trio on the mound again? Or would you rather have Dustin May, Richard Fitz, Hunter Dobbins, giving them a chance to Kyle Leahy, see what they can do, as well as going with, the McGreevy and Liberatore. Palante's still in the mix, but you know what I'm saying though? Like, would you rather see young guys with upside like that, or would you rather see what you've seen the last couple seasons with the Cardinals, where you're just like, we're never going to win with these guys? At least with these people, there's more of an unknown with a higher ceiling, right?
Yeah, there's some hope there too. I mean, you hope that they can turn out to be so. Even if it is a rough year in 2026 for these guys, they're still young. They're still under team control for quite a while. We can work with them at least, and we're not paying them $18 million a year.
Yeah. And the other side I want to point out too is that, like, people are getting upset that these aren't all 100, top 100 prospects coming back or whatever. Fitz and Dobbins, it's not like these guys were scrubs. They were both top 30 guys in Boston's farm system before they got traded. Dobbins was lower on the list, but Fitz was, I think, number 12 at one point. So it's not like these guys are bums that they're just, just guys are pulling up from AAA and giving to the Cardinals. No, these were guys that had legitimate shots at a serious future as Major League Baseball players. And they've all graded out to be what we would call back of the end rotation guys. But instead of them being Michaelis making $18.5 million or whatever the stupid number was that he was making, like, instead of paying that, you're paying peanuts for these guys instead.
Yep.
And again, a higher ceiling. So I feel like that's something that you got to think about. And moving Willson Contreras, as much as it's a bummer to lose what he is in the clubhouse and what he is in the lineup, you are giving more at bats now to Alec Burleson every day, who last time won a Silver Slugger award. So does that suck? Is that bad? Is it no, this is not Nathan Church taking over at first base, you guys. This is a guy who just won the Silver Slugger award, back-to-back seasons of excellent production that you're now going to give more at bats to. Ivan Herrera, again, you mentioned him. If he's at catcher, if he's at first, if he's in left field, wherever they're going to put him out there every day that they can.
Yep.
You're hoping he stays healthy, because when you look at the numbers he had last year, if that carries over to 155 games, I mean, look at the damage he would have done.
Yeah. Oh, and then back to Hunter Dobbins. I mean, you look at how excited fans were to see McGreevy come up last year. Mm-hmm. Dobbins had a better ERA. His K rate was at least comparable, if not better. I mean, if we had Hunter Dobbins in our system and we brought him up in July and fans had the excitement they had for McGreevy as they do with him, it's a different story then too. I mean, they're not going to be aces. They're not going to be number ones in every single team, but they're fours, and that's what we need right now, just to log some innings, get some experience.
Yeah, and hoping that they progress and get better, because that's the other thing
Yeah.
is like these guys aren't capped. Just because this is what they did last year doesn't mean that that's all they're going to be. These are
Yep.
guys that have years and years, hopefully, ahead of them to improve. And maybe the Cardinals and Dusty Blake and company, whether you have faith in them or not, maybe they know a few things that can help these guys and make them even better. They've had some success stories with guys coming up through the system already. McGreevy's one of them. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't just say like, well, this is all they're ever going to be. No, they're just guys that are available and ready to go major league level now. We know they've done it before. They faced major league hitting before. So you kind of trust them to eat some of these innings that you've lost by moving on from Sonny Gray and Miles Michaelis. As bad as he might have been, at least he was there every day, right? That's the one positive we take from it. Like he always showed up for work, and he would usually give you 5 innings and, had a lot of bad luck in some of those games too, that he ended up taking L's in. So I don't know. It's not all doom and gloom, but I can see why fans are upset. You're seeing guys that you care about going to other teams for dudes you've never heard of ever in your life. And it's freaking you out a little bit. And we get it. And I hope you're prepared because when Brendan Donovan gets traded, whenever that goes down, it's probably going to bring back some guys that you aren't all that familiar with either. But those are probably going to be guys with higher ceilings than even the guys we've already talked about that they just received from Boston. What did you think about the report that Boston's interested in Brendan Donovan?
Whatever. give me Peyton Toll, and then I'm fine with it. Yeah, I don't really see where he fits in Boston. Like I know they need a second baseman, but he doesn't seem like the centerpiece that they've been looking for. I'm not sure if that's another left-handed bat there. I don't know if they need that, especially given their outfield lineup. Whatever. I mean, if Boston would, or if Heim Bloom would keep on taking his former team's prospects, that's fine with me. It would be the 2028. I think I tweeted yesterday. It was like the 2026 Red Sox will be the 2025 Cardinals, and the 2028 Cardinals will be the 2025 Boston Red Sox farm system. So we're just swapping.
That's fine with me because that means that we'd have the best farm system in baseball, right?
Yeah, right. And then I'll be in the majors by then, so it's fine. Go for it. Rob them.
There we go. I know you used a really good word when we were texting about things when we first saw this, and that was smoke screen. You're not really buying that Boston is a team that's really chasing Donovan as much as you think that maybe this is a little nudge to get the other teams moving.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, Seattle, Giants, even the Rays have been whispered. I think that this may be more of like a, hey, we're going to deal with these guys if you don't start giving us what we've been asking for the last 2 months.
Yeah. It very well could be. Like, we'll see though. I wouldn't presume we'll get anything done before Christmas, but it's certainly going to be there when we get back from Christmas break and everything. And I remember Heim saying that he was hoping to get one more deal done before they kind of went away for the rest of the Christmas holiday. And it looks like the Willson Contreras one was the deal that he was talking about. But I know they aren't the names that everybody's used to seeing or whatever, but there is something about this team that's kind of exciting because of the unknown that is going on with them and how many of these young guys are going to come up who could be great. They could fall on their face and be terrible, but it's the unknown and the idea that, hey, maybe something special could happen in the near future. Maybe not in 2026, but down the road that will make the Cardinals great again. If I could steal that phrase, I hope that doesn't upset everybody, but that's what we're looking for. What's going to happen in the long term? That's what we're shooting for. But once again, leave your comments down below. Let us know what you think of everything. Do you still believe that Heim Bloom is a double secret agent for Boston, and he's just giving the Red Sox all of the good players from the Cardinals who didn't win diddly poo here, by the way? Can I point that out as well? These guys that we're trading away, what did they win over the last 3 seasons? Nothing. So why would you want to keep them all? So just think about that. Think about that for a second. And thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. You can also find us on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube to help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. Make sure you guys are following Thomas Gauvain on X, and anything new coming up at redbirdranch.com in the future from you before we get to the new year.
I've got a really great story I've been working on for a while. I talked with the guy from Tread Athletics who's been working with Bryce and Mats for the last year or so now. And I've got some quotes from him about his progress and everything. So I'm pretty excited about that one.
All right, Bryson Mott's the reigning Cardinals minor league pitcher of the year. Maybe he's on the roster in 26. That's not out of the realms of possibility
Why
either.
not?
Think about it, fans. For those of you on video, we're going to send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. Thomas, thank you so much as always, buddy, and happy holidays to you and your family, bro.
Same to you.
All right, you guys are the best fans of baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.